At the beginning of the story, we are shown a scene from 20,000 years ago where a man named Tao went hunting with his tribe so that they could gather food for the winter. Then he saw a herd of wild buffaloes, and Tao told his people to be ready for the attack. Now they slowly approached the wild buffaloes, and as soon as they got a chance, they attacked them. Now everything was fine till here, but then suddenly one of the buffaloes ran after Tao's son Keda. Now, since Keda had come hunting for the first time, the wolf. Now, as the wolf had come for the first time, he started running away from the wild buffalo. But then the buffalo threw him in the air and injured him badly. Then he trapped the wolf in his horns and started walking towards the ditch. Now, the uncle also saw all this and threw a spear on the buffalo to save his son. But despite being injured, the buffalo did not stop and took the wolf and threw him in the ditch. Now, this story goes into flashback, and we are shown a scene from a week ago when the people of the tribe were preparing to go on a hunt and were making different types of weapons for themselves. Now that night, the mother of the insect told the father of the insect, "You don't take my son on a hunt because he is not ready for it now, and I don't want to lose him at such a young age." On this, the father of the insect says that the winter season is coming, and if we don't go on a hunt, then our whole village will be killed by hunger. Now the next morning, the uncle set out on a hunt with the people of the tribe. After walking for a long time, they reached a monument made of stone, which was made in memory of their ancestors. According to a tradition of this tribe, if someone is killed during a hunt, the people of the tribe make a stone monument in his memory. Here Tao and his companions were moving ahead, and that is when they met another tribe. Now the people of this tribe had also set out on a hunt, so they all decided to move ahead together. That evening, they all together caught a wild boar, and Keda was given the responsibility of killing it. Keda had never killed a mosquito before, so killing the boar was a big deal. Tao was very disappointed to see this and explained to Keda that if this continued, then you will never be able to become the leader of this tribe, and I will have to give your place to someone else, even if I don't want to. When night fell, they all set fire to the boar and started cooking their prey, but then they heard a wild animal's voice, which Tao told everyone to be careful. But before they could think of anything, a lion attacked them and took a boy named Kappa with him. The next morning, they made a monument in Kappa's memory and went in search of the prey. They kept walking for hours, but today they didn't find any useful prey, and so they decided to spend the night in a stone cave. Here, Keda's father made a star tattoo on his hand and told him that if he followed the stars at night, he would reach his tribe. Actually, it was a kind of map so that if someone got lost during the hunt, he could follow the stars and reach his home. Now, the next morning, these people went out again in search of the prey, and as soon as they walked a little further, they saw the footprints of some wild buffaloes. After that, all these people slowly reached the buffaloes, and when they got a chance, they were struck by the buffaloes. And now the story came from where it started. A buffalo injured a banana tree badly and threw it into a big pit. Here people of the tribe thought that the banana tree must have fallen into the pit and died, but when they went near, they saw that it was still hanging on a rock, but now they could save it. That the banana tree slipped and it started going down into the pit, but fortunately it didn't fall into the trench and hit a rock and passed out. Seeing this, Tao started going down to save his son, but the rest of the tribe stopped him. They explained to Tao that there was no use of all this because it is impossible to save anyone after falling from such a height. However, Tao didn't pay attention to these things and started calling out to his son, sitting on the edge of the rock. It was night by the time he saw it, but the banana was still unconscious. And that's why Tao also accepted that his son is no more. The next morning, the people of the tribe bid farewell to Keda with a heavy heart and left for the tribe with their hunt. A few hours passed, but Keda was still unconscious. Meanwhile, a sparrow saw Keda and thought he was dead and came to him. But as soon as he started eating Keda, he came to his senses, and in a single moment, he grabbed the sparrow's neck and threw it down. Now seeing himself on this rock, Keda was very scared to see himself on the rock and started to scream for help. But soon he realized that there is no one here to help him. Now Keda didn't want to die like this, so he started to climb the rock with courage. After a lot of effort, he came up a little bit, but now there was no way to go ahead. But despite this, Keda didn't give up and he hung on the rock with his whole life. Now here his luck was on his side and it started raining heavily. This heavy rain turned that big hole into a river. And seeing this, an idea came to the mind of the insect. Now, as the insect didn't know how to swim, He guessed the depth of the water and jumped down. But he fell into the water and fainted. And when he regained consciousness the next morning, he was lying on the bank of a river. Now the insect was saved, but his leg was so bad that he couldn't even move it properly. Actually, due to falling from such a height, his leg bone was twisted and his leg was completely swollen. Now Keda bravely put his leg between the stones and fixed his broken leg bone. After this, he used a stick to support his leg and quickly reached the top of the mountain from where he had fallen. When he reached the top and saw his name, he was completely broken and started crying. Then he heard some strange noises, and when he turned around, he saw a group of wolves. He could not believe that these wolves attacked him and started running towards him. Now, to save his life, the wolf started climbing a tree nearby, but then one of the wolves grabbed his leg and started pulling it down. Seeing this, the wolf immediately took out his weapon and attacked the wolf and injured him. Then he climbed up the tree and decided to stay on the tree till the wolves left. It was nightfall, but the wolves were still not ready to leave. Keda had no other choice, so he spent the whole night on this dry tree. The next morning, he saw that the wounded wolf was still there, but his other companions had left. First, Keda made a weapon out of his knife so that he could kill the wounded wolf, because Keda knew that if he didn't kill the wolf, then this wolf will kill him. After that, he came down and went ahead to kill the wolf. But when he saw the wolf in his eyes, he felt pity on this wounded wolf and he changed his mind to kill him. However, he couldn't leave the wolf open like this, so he tied his mouth with a rope and started walking ahead with it on his shoulder. Now, after walking all day, they reached a small cave where they spent their night. The next morning, the insect collected some herbs and ground them on its wounds. Meanwhile, when the insect was drinking water, the wolf opened the rope tied on its mouth now. Seeing this, the insect was a little scared, but then it calmed down and moved ahead to give water to the wolf now. Here, the wolf showed its teeth and tried to scare the insect, but the insect remained calm and tried to give it water now. Seeing this behavior of the insect, the wolf became calm because he understood that he is not in danger of the insect anymore. After this, the insect cleaned the insects on the wound of the wolf and applied the herbal paste to it. Now that evening, the insect hunted a rabbit and started burning a fire in the cave to cook it. Meanwhile, the wolf tried to snatch the rabbit from him, but the insect scared him and calmed him down. And to show himself as a strong man, he started eating the rabbit raw. Seeing this, the wolf got scared and quietly sat in a corner. That night, Keda got some relief after eating food because he hadn't eaten anything for the last few days. He fed the wolf, and the wolf also started eating like a pet dog. Since Keda was badly injured, he decided to stay in this cave for a few days. Days passed, and one night Keda saw the tattoos on his hand. He started missing his home and decided to return home before it started snowing. The next morning, the mouse leaves for his home and asks the wolf to go to his family. But when the wolf didn't move even after a lot of effort, the mouse decided to move ahead alone. Now, as he moved ahead, the mouse noticed that someone was following him, and when he turned around, it was no one but the wolf. Here, the mouse threw a stick and tried to scare the wolf. But instead of running away, the wolf came to the insect. This wolf was a dog, but due to family pressure, he became a wolf. Anyway, as they moved ahead, they spotted some wild pigs and the wolf ran towards them to hunt them. To escape the wolf, the pigs ran towards the insect, but the insect got scared of them and ran away. The wolf was very disappointed with the insect. Because of this, they had to sleep hungry. However, they soon became friends again, and Keda named her Alpha that evening. Alpha was shown a small rabbit, and this time she didn't make any mistake. She hunted the rabbit, and they ate together at night. Now, when it was time to sleep, Alpha snuck out of Keda's bed so that they don't feel cold. Days passed by, and they kept moving towards their destination in the next few days. Keda also learned to hunt with the help of Alpha, and as time passed, their friendship grew stronger. A few days passed, and now it was winter season. In winter, this whole area was covered with a white sheet of snow, and snowy winds were blowing all around. But despite this, Keda and Alpha didn't give up and kept moving towards their home in the snowy weather. They both hunt for prey and survive by eating it. Now one day while walking, the ice under the insect's feet broke and it fell into the water. It was a small lake that had frozen due to the cold. The insect tried to come up, but it was not able to get out. Here, Alpha thought of breaking the ice and getting his friend out. But this poor guy was not heavy enough to break the thick layer of ice. Now, when the insect was not able to get out, he quickly took out his knife and started breaking the ice and came out of the water with the help of Alpha after that. He quickly took off his clothes and lit a fire nearby to warm himself. They spent the night here and continued their journey the next morning after walking for a few hours. Keda saw a man sitting outside the tent. He was very happy to see him, but when he went near him, all his happiness disappeared because this man had frozen to death. Keda then took the bow and arrow from this man and walked ahead with Alpha. They kept walking for a long time, but after a while, another problem knocked on the door. They were confronted by a pack of wild dogs, who attacked them as soon as they saw them. Now, to escape these dogs, they quickly entered a cave and started waiting for the dogs. But when they did not see any movement, they relaxed and sat there. But they were unaware that the cave they were in was a terrorist. Now they could think that a Black Panther had come in front of them and attacked Keda, but like every time Alpha came in between and tried to save Keda from this terrorist, but this terrorist was big and was hitting Alpha. Keda saw this and took out his arrow and his bow and left an arrow on the terrorist. Luckily, Keda's arrow hit the target, and as soon as it hit the target, fell on the ground. After that, the ant cleaned the wounds of Alpha and applied the herbal paste to them. The ant was thankful to Alpha because Alpha saved his life so many times in this journey, and that's why he wanted to take Alpha home with him. The next morning, the two continued their journey and slowly moved forward. After walking for many hours, the ant finally saw the monument that we saw at the beginning of the movie, and it meant that now they were very close to their destination. Keda was very happy to see this and continued to move forward, but meanwhile Alpha fell to the ground because he was very weak due to his injuries. Keda understood that now Alpha would not be able to walk on his feet. So he picked up Alpha in his lap and started moving forward slowly. Finally, his hard work paid off and he reached a place and was shown his settlement from a distance. After so many days, seeing his village, he quickly reached his village, where he fell on the ground when Keda's parents saw him. They were shocked and hugged him. Keda told his uncle to save Alpha at any cost, and he fainted after saying this. After a few hours, Keda regained consciousness. He was inside his house and Alpha was lying next to him. Here he came to know that Alpha has given birth to some small children. This meant that Alpha is a mother wolf, and during this whole journey she was pregnant. Despite this, she supported Keda at every step and saved her life many times. After knowing this, Keda's love for Alpha increased and he hugged Alpha.